Hello, hello.
Was I supposed to say hi?
Yes. What?
My bad.
I think you should keep that in.
I agree. Let's roll
Anyways,
back.
roll back, run it back. Well, hello, friends. For those of you who are new to us or old to us, welcome to Girls Same the podcast. I'm your host, Makayla Daniels.
And I'm your host, Kaylee Judge.
We are so excited today to jump into our topic. We are talking about friendships today, which is so fun and hard and weird and yeah.
Yeah. Friendships,
Kaylee,
I feel
what?
like, yeah,
No, I was just gonna say, what did friendships look like for you after college?
yeah. That is a great question. I feel like friendships, especially that I had made in college, some of them held really strong, like obviously the one with you. But others of them just kind of dwindled to the side. And I feel like it was somewhat natural coming out of college just because people moved. So the ones that were super solid and, were kind of, I want to say bound to stay together, did. And then the other ones that just weren't as strong fell to the wayside, which is okay. Like, still love those people, but we're in different walks of life right now. And then creating new friendships, I think, was kind of the how do I do this now that I'm not living in a dorm room next to someone? I don't see them in class every day. Like, this is a little bit weird. I have to initiate a dinner with you. I can't just like hang out with you randomly that I when I see in the library. So it looks a lot different. It looks like, trying to find a church with a really good community with people my age, which unfortunately ruled out, especially in this area, it's a little bit older. It ruled out a couple of churches that I kind of liked. They just didn't have groups for people my age or women that were in my stage of life. And I ended up at a church that is wonderful and has literally community groups for everything, including my age and stage and female. So that's perfect. It worked out. But it took probably 6 to 8 months of trial and error with churches, and then another 6 months being really plugged in at that church until I kind of found some friends. And of course, those friendships have grown into being true friends versus, the coffee date friendships where it's like, what are we doing? This seems kind of weird. But
Hmm.
yeah. What does it look like for you? Because I know you went to a new city as well, and kind
Yeah.
of where you have found friendship there.
Yeah. Well, I think too, like very similar to you, and just all of the things. But additionally, my job is odd in that I don't work a regular 9 to 5, 5 days a week. And so because of that, I have like I'll be off on a Tuesday. And so it's like, well, what do I do with this Tuesday? And like, do I, that kind of thing. And so it's been nice because I do have nurse friends that are in like similar stages. But then I have friends that like work virtual, remote, and like stuff like that. And so it's just like, okay, just that intention, like being intentional and being just so very um, just having to reach out to people in a way of just being like, hey, like I'm putting myself out here. I need friends. And like I kind of like cast my net wide, like if you will. Like I just really was like, I'm gonna just try and like everyone, just like who wants to be my friend kind of thing, and then see who comes in based off of that. Um, and it's been fun too because yeah, I've very much had, like I just said, I had a rough season of being like, who are my friends and how do I build deeper friendships and all the things with community. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I could ever leave these people because this is like these are my people. Which is really cool. But honestly, that came through being really uncomfortable, like a lot of times. And it came through being so honest with people and just saying like, hey, like literally it felt like kindergarten. There was a few moments that I had that were so like specific, like this past year where I literally walked up to people and it was friends that like, oh, maybe we got coffee or dinner once every like blue moon and stuff like that. But I was like, okay, I want to go deeper because we're having these like half deep conversations, but like we're not that close, so we're not getting specific, but we also are like going through stuff that we want to share. And so I did this with two friends this year and I plan on doing it with more people. And I just looked at them and I was like, let's be friends for real. Like, let's actually dive in. Let's like actually just like be friends. And it's been so freeing because it's like, man, all the walls like like are down. Like there's no like, oh, we need to pretend and act like, no, it's literally like, come over, see my house is an absolute wreck and a disaster. I'm a wreck and a disaster, but let's just talk because this is life. Like let's do life together. And it has been a game changer being just so like honest with people and putting myself out there and just being like, let's actually do life. Let's be like real with each other. So
Yeah.
I would say
Yeah.
that's what it's looked like for me, and it's been so cool.
Yeah. And I feel like for everyone listening or watching, that is 100% Hallmark Makayla right there. Like, she is the are we doing this thing or not type, or like, should I move on to the next friend, and get deep with them type of thing. So I know there's people listening or watching who are thinking, gosh, that terrifies me. That is so scary. I don't want to approach strangers or like be scared of like friendship rejection almost. So I know coming from your point of view, you probably have some maybe things you've worked over to be more confident in that. What would you kind of tell people of, baby step to get there to
Yeah.
searching for their friends? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and like I said, the people that I straight up was like, let's be friends, let's go deep with. We already did have a form of like a actual foundation. It wasn't like I walked up to strangers. And so like first things first, like find people, literally find someone, a girl. This is the thing too. Everyone is lonely. Everyone wants friends. Everyone is seeking for the same thing. And honestly, just like this day and age and the way that we communicate is so bad that no one's willing to like actually take that step. I just like challenge you just to like look around and just see like, oh my gosh, is there anyone that's just like lonely and that's just like wanting a friend and wanting just, or even you're at church and you're like, oh, that girl has a cute sweater on. Just go tell her her sweater's cute. Maybe she'll say thank you and keep walking, but maybe she'll be like, hey, it's nice to meet you. I've never seen you around. My name's Charlotte and I'm about to go get lunch with some friends. You never know, but you have to just be willing to take that step. And I think too, you just have to be willing to just trust Jesus and just be like, okay, Lord, I'm scared. Just be so honest with him and so open and just say, this is hard for me, but I want this. So like, will you be with me in this so that I might take a step forward and gain friends and gain community so that I can have people that lead me closer to you. And it is hard. I'm not going to pretend like it's easy. In due time, it happens, but it does take patience for sure. Is
Yeah.
like a big
And I
thing.
think that's something that, especially coming from college, you don't realize it
Mhm.
takes a lot more time to build friendships that are strong and deep than it would in college. In
Yeah.
college, I think because of the amount of times and the frequency that you're seeing people, it's easier almost.
Mhm.
Whereas outside of college, it takes a lot more time. So you have to be a little bit more patient. But to
That's
Michaela's point, like I was sitting in church one day and this girl walked in and sat next to me. I was in like the back row and she looked about my age. And at the end of service, I was just like, oh, do you usually come here? Whatever. And then we exchanged numbers. It could have been she was like, oh, not really. I don't think I'm coming back either, and walked away. Okay, sure. But the Lord's had his hands on that friendship for sure because she's one of my closest girls now, and I've only known her for like a year and a half. So definitely don't be shy to just say hello, give someone a compliment, ask them a general question just to see where it goes because you might be shocked what ends
That's so
up
good.
coming out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. And that's such a good reminder too, because literally within college, it was like week two, I was knowing people's grandparents' names. Like, especially the college we went to too, just was big in community and big in relationships. And so we just like would just like dive really deep, really quick. And it was great. But I also think too, it just like isn't how the real world works. And it can be so deceiving because we leave and then it's like, okay, so what do I do? How do I do this? Um, but I think once you do start finding some people and start finding that community, okay, well, what does it look like to live? Like, what do we do? How do we interact? How do we still have friendships? And so, Kaylee, I'm curious, like, what does friendship look like for you?
Yeah. I think that being hospitable is definitely one of the biggest things you can do. I mean, we talked before about how much Michaela and I love to host, but it's really important to be okay with people coming into your home. One, because it gets expensive going out all the time for dinner and coffee and lunch, but also because it creates an environment where people want to come. They feel welcomed and they feel like, oh, I can be comfortable here. I know where the plates are. I know where the water cups are. And that sense of community of living together, where if they call and say, hey, I'm not having a great day. Okay, great. I'll be home in an hour. I'm popping cookies in the oven. Just walk in the door. You've got the code.
Yeah.
That type of ability with friends is really important. And I think allows us to live more communally versus the friends where it's like, I've never seen their house. I don't even know what street they live on type of thing. I think it's important to allow your friends to sit on your couch, to just relax, to watch you fold your laundry and clean the windows and, whatever it is. Truly just doing life, not pretending like we live in a la la land that involves eating and shopping all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so good. Because I think it's like almost as if we now put on this facade of like, oh, my life is great because I look good and we're out in public and we're eating dinner and I can like just put on this like, and I can just say like, yeah, I'm doing so well. But come into my home and see the mess and especially like for me, this is like a one specific situation, but I had one of my really good friends. She's one of the people that I looked in the eyes this year and I said, let's be friends. And she was like, okay. And she took it so serious and so to heart. And she just comes in my house and she sits on grabs a blanket and sits on my couch and just listens to me yap. And it's just the best. But she came over, she was like, I really want to see you. I was leaving to go I was going to go do 2 weeks of summer camp with my church. And I had to cook all of my food for the camp. And so I had spent 6 hours meal prepping. And so my kitchen is beyond disastrous, like so bad. And then I very deeply sliced my thumb open with a knife. And so I almost passed out. Like it was like this very
Kayla.
moment. And I was like, and I was like, unwell. So then I'm like out of commission, one-handed, because my hand hurt so bad. Honestly, I need the stitches, but anyways, the Lord healed. But she came over and I was like, I'm a mess. Like there's like bloody paper towels, like there's like dishes. And she just talked to me for hours and did my dishes. That's just straight up friendship and so kind and so loving. And not to brag on this friend, but she's just the best. And so then literally I got back from camp 2 weeks, utterly exhausted. Never been that exhausted in my life. And she had made me all this food and brought it to my house. And so I don't remember what I was trying to start the conversation. Oh, this is what I was saying. It's just beautiful the way that when we let people into our lives and we're like, hey, come and see my mess. Like you can see the mess and not just a physical mess, but the emotional mess. You can see just the good, the bad, the depths of me and the depths of just my life and what's going on. And let me just be open and honest and vulnerable with you. And honestly, when you give that to people, you will receive it in return with the right people. And that's not to say that we give our stories and our lives to everyone, because there are people and their situations, both of us can attest to things where we were like, ooh, we gave them a lot of our stories and they didn't deserve that or earn that. But just discerning the right people to share your life with. So what does that look like, Kaile? I'm curious, like actual discernment of friends.
Yeah, I think that I am continually learning on this one. And maybe one day I will understand, but I feel like historically I've not been the best at this. And usually it comes with hindsight that I realize, oh, I was kind of always exhausted after hanging out with them. Or, we never really talked about God and the things they like to do, like I kind of feel convicted about doing and things like that. So I think part of the discernment comes with, not for me at least, I would say this part, maybe know yourself. For me, not jumping in so fast. Not everyone has pure intentions, unfortunately enough. We do live in a fallen world. So baby stepping into friendships for me is helpful, and not losing sight of my convictions and who I am. And I think that is really important, and choosing the right friends, but also making sure current friendships remain healthy, because that is something else I can say, we're all growing at the same time, and sometimes we end up growing apart. They grow and decide to leave the church, or they grow and their convictions weaken, and so they're making really poor decisions and don't care. And you've brought up, and that might be okay, you might be in my second circle, not my closest circle, and that's okay to happen. But being willing to say, this relationship is draining to me. I am not myself when I'm with you, and we're not doing things that I feel morally or spiritually comfortable with. And that's fine. And being willing to step away. I think I have maybe not always stepped away well, but I've been willing to step away. So I'm very much on the early learning curve of friendships. So how do you go about discerning and understanding kind of where your friends should be and when they should be there and not?
Yeah, yeah. Have I talked about the tree illustration with you before?
No.
Okay. So I saw this like TikTok or not I'm not on TikTok, but like I saw this Instagram reel.
That came
And
from
I thought
TikTok.
yeah. um, and I thought it was so good because it had been describing something that I have been learning over the last probably 4 or 5 years, but essentially this man is describing that friendships can be like a tree, like different types of friendships. So you have the leaves, which like people that like are literally there for a season and leave, and they, maybe their friendship blooms and then like within a season they're gone and they have left, but they're not consistent. And then you have the branches, which like branches they're good, like they're sturdy friends, and but they're more consistent, but you can't put all your weight on them. You can't depend on them for everything. But they're good friends, and they're there, and they stay. And then the deepest friends are the roots, and those are the friends that like you're anchored in, and that you like literally can like carry yourself and like depend on and put all of your weight on in situations when you need to, and they're just there, and you're just like, wow, like this person's here for me, and they're not going anywhere. And like I honestly you build your life off of just their friendship and who they are. And so that was so just a really great picture of something that I had been processing, because I went through a friendship breakup, which, okay, first of all, nobody, and I mean nobody, talks about a friendship breakup. And nobody talks about how it wrecks you. And
Yeah.
dare I
And it
say,
can be very, very dramatic as
yes,
well.
so dramatic. And like, dare I
Yes.
say, sometimes worse than breaking up with a boy. But like,
She said it.
I said it. Is that what I said? But man, like so hard and so hurtful. And so I went through a friendship breakup of someone that I thought this person is my root, like deepest root, like closest friend. And turned out they were a leaf, which was so unexpected. So like just that like realization of like, oh my gosh, they're gone. And I thought I would know them for the rest of my, literally for the rest of my life, and now they're gone and out of my life. And honestly, I just had to trust the Lord and be like, okay, Jesus, you put everyone in my life for a reason, and whether they're here for a season or they're here forever, you know what you're doing by putting these people in my life. But God's sovereign in it even still, and like he's gonna just like be faithful to be with us, even though it's so hard, it's so hurtful. But I just think like pray, seek discernment, seek and see like, okay, is this a friend? Because there are people that they just want someone, they just want you to be their therapist. So like,
Yeah. That
that's
is
not
so
a friend.
true.
That like, no, that's just a person that just wants an outlet to talk. And
Yeah.
so if they don't ever ask you about you, if they're never like, how are you doing? If they don't challenge you, if they aren't seeking to better you, if you don't feel like you're growing with them, then yeah, maybe that's not someone that you should continue to just pursue friendship with. And, or maybe they're a leaf, maybe it's like, you're you're a soft branch. Like, I can't really depend on you for really much, but like you're there, you're kind, like
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I think that's really
everything is
good.
different.
Yeah. And I think about like that Bible verse, iron sharpens iron,
Yeah.
right? So it's, are we being sharpened? Are we being matured in our faith with this
Hmm.
person? Are we being pushed to be just a better human overall? And is our faith growing with them, or is it being challenged with them? Are we being encouraged to serve and to get involved even more in community? Or are we being pulled away because we're hungover Sunday mornings? So, just kind of weighing those. And I think, it can sound, oh, well, I don't really care. Well, there is something important about either whether it's your inner circle or if it's your roots. Why is it important that they're healthy? Well, unfortunately enough, it matters a lot because your roots are what's feeding into you
Oh,
and what's giving you guidance and giving you
yeah.
advice when you come to them. And do you want that advice to be from a selfish point of view? Do you want that advice to be from someone that's jealous and critical or who likes revenge? Or do you want that advice to come from someone who is gracious and merciful and is very forgiving? And that's why your roots are important.
Okay, Kaylee Judge, pop off. Yes, ma'am.
She has a few thoughts
Oh, she has many. She has many good thoughts. That's
all
so
the
good.
time. All the time I have thoughts.
No, that's so good. And I think too, I just think back to obviously we're still friends, but like the foundation of our friendship was when we lived together with our third roommate who we're equally as close with. Like we love her. She's just not here. But like we'll have her come on sometime.
One day she'll be here.
One day she'll come on. But yes, and we just had this phenomenal dynamic where we were laughing and goofing and all the things all the time, but we also were so real. And so we all three were in therapy, praise Jesus.
Yes.
Um, and we just were pursuing the Lord. And there would be moments where it'd be like, whoa, wait a minute, slow your roll. They would be like, Makayla, no, that's not gonna work, sweetie. Like in the best way, in the kindest way, in the most, we love you, therefore we're not gonna let you. You're walking into destruction. We're not gonna let you to continue to do that. And here's the thing too with friendships is that we're not anybody's Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is the Holy Spirit. He's going to convict and correct and do what he needs to do. But like the Holy Spirit does obviously speak through us. And so if we speak truth to someone, if you speak truth to a friend and someone that you truly love and are like, I respect them so much and I'm saying this out of grace, with grace and truth, and they are like, nope, I don't want to hear that. I'm not here for that. And then okay, then step back because it's not for you to fight. It's not for you to try and, oh, let me like try and persuade. No, they've made their decision and their choice, and that's that they want to walk into destruction, and you're trying to lead them back, and they're like, no, I want to just keep on going the direction I'm going because they like their sin and they like their lifestyle more than they want to live for the Lord. And yeah, and if people are going to walk away, let them.
Right.
And that's not to say that maybe they'll walk back, and with discernment and prayer, then maybe let them come back and talk to them and be like, hey, I want to be your friend, but I'm not going to be your friend and let you choose death for yourself.
Right.
And so like
Yeah.
you need to decide if you if you want to choose life or death. And if you're going to choose death, then maybe this is not the friendship that you need.
Yeah, that was very well said. Something that I would encourage you guys with as we're kind of wrapping up the conversation is to take Makayla's tree, the leaves, branches, and roots. You can draw it if you want, and put the people that you'd put there and determine, are these roots healthy? Are these branches, should they be branches? Are these leaves, have they been trying to fall off and I'm choke holding them from falling off? And maybe draw some arrows. There might be some people who are branches who you're like, maybe I need to look them in the face and say, let's get real about this, because you want them to be a root. And maybe there's a root that's rotten and you say, you know what, I need to dig that one out and it's got to go in the recycle. And then maybe there's some people who aren't on your tree at all that you just know in your community group you're not super close with. And maybe those are some of those people that it's like, hey, let's get a coffee and see maybe if we jive, maybe it could be a branch or leaf for me. And if it grows, maybe it can be a root. So I'd reassess that, see where you're at, because it can be easy to say, oh, I have great friends. But when you start analyzing it and being discerning about it, inviting the Holy Spirit into that conversation and reflection, I think a lot can be revealed. So
That's so good, Kaylee, of just like evaluating and to like pray and be like, Jesus, who do I need to pursue? Or, there have been moments where I have prayed for very specific, I'm like, Lord, this person does not exist in my life. Please bring them in my life. And he like genuinely has. And it's been so beautiful. And yeah. And so even too, just as you were talking, Kaylee, it just reminded me of the fact that Jesus was like the Bible says he was a friend of sinners. And so we also are, all of our friends are sinners, all of them, and we are sinners. And so just remembering like there's a difference between, okay, let me accept, you know, abuse or maltreatment or manipulation versus just accepting and being like, this person's a sinner and I'm going to extend grace to them and I'm going to love them despite them and I'm going to love them through things. And that's beautiful. And that's what Jesus does for us. But there's a difference between the two, but just know that like, just because someone wrongs you once doesn't necessarily mean they need to be cut off, depending on what the situation is. But, and, you know, and also too, like remember, you are a sinner. You will wrong people. You will hurt friends. Um,
Yeah.
I know that I say and do stuff that my friends are like, "Excuse me," all the time. And they're so kind and gracious to still call me friend. I think my last question to wrap up, Kaylee Judge, what has been one of your favorite moments of our friendship? That like we've and it doesn't have to just be like it can be include our other roommate, but I'm just curious.
I think honestly, post college, our trips together have been. I look for as soon as it's scheduled, that's what I look forward to for months or like a
Yeah.
year. And just the adventures we go on. We have a little Snoop Dogg Elf on the Shelf character that we take on our adventures with us.
You have
And
them, right?
I am just like, we are such characters, and I think we are so funny.
We're so funny.
And I will like look back at these photos and remember what was going on that we took during those times and just start cracking up. And
So
I'm like, this is the best, such joy-filled friendship, and I'm so grateful.
yeah.
What's your favorite memory?
Yeah, like I can't necessarily pinpoint one because we've had some great times. Our trips have been so good. I think that's been fun because I thought we had fun when we were in college, and I feel like we've had far more fun on our trips than like where it's been like this is the best. We look so look forward to them, and the last trip we went out to go see Kaylee. And so we went to Utah. We did Zion National Park and all that stuff. So we have all these videos of us like these beautiful rock formations and scenery. And we were like went back and are listening to the videos on our drives and stuff. And the videos are us just like saying the most. It's just us talking, like having conversation, and it's like like the most beautiful like thing you've ever seen in your life. And we're like, yeah. So the other day I was talking to my mom and like just like, like yapping. And every video, like it's so funny. But also, actually though, do you remember when we were in college and we,
Oh no.
I don't know what happened. I don't remember why, but we had a large amount of cookies in our house, which was common, but like larger than we could
Yes.
eat. And so
Oh my gosh, yes.
we pack up the cookies, we pack up our karaoke microphone that we had learned how to connect to our other roommate's car. But so we turn the volume up full blast, take the microphone, and start driving around campus asking these college kids, and we're all seniors, we're like on our way out, like whole thing. And so we're like asking these kids random question or like sing this song, and then like you'll get a cookie. And so,
And people did it.
and people
People
did
did
it.
it.
And it was so fun. And it was like hilarious.
It was a
And
blast.
yeah, and there was a couple people that we would know, so we'd like scream their name on the mic and they'd be like, "Who's calling
We'd be
me?"
like, what's going on?
So good. That was a core
Oh
memory for
gosh,
sure.
we had a blast. And that's something we'll leave you with. If you cannot have a blast with your friends, I mean, come on. If you
Word.
cannot cackle until you can't breathe, for me personally,
What are you
it's
doing?
not going to work.
So true. So true. Well, thanks, friends, so much for listening. We so look forward to speaking with you next week. Bye.
Bye.